Hello, this is Correctional Officers in the News. This week I have 5 articles that I would like to highlight and bring to your attention. Let's jump right into it. The first article is of a man in Miami, Florida, who was convicted and gets life in prison for shooting a correction officer. So, I have the video footage of the trial, of the highlights of the trial, supplied by the local news station in Miami, and I would like to play that, and then I would like to come back and kick it with you about the video and about this case.
A South Florida man learning his fate after robbing and shooting a corrections officer. NBC6 reporter Claudia DeCampo is at the Metro Justice Building in Miami with the story.
I'm just a mother pleading for some of the life of my son.
22-year-old Patrick Sullivan waiting to be sentenced for robbing and shooting corrections officer Juan Gelmes 2 years ago.
He placed the gun on Mr. Gelmes' shoulder, and pulled the trigger. Pow.
I heard 3 gunshots.
Gelmes, a corrections officer in the Metro Justice Building, was working on his car on his day off in front of his home in southwest Miami-Dade. He was wearing a gold chain around his neck.
I didn't deserve this. This is everything I teach my sons not to ever do.
I'm sorry for my actions, and I really would ask you to forgive me for the things that I've done.
The sentence could fall anywhere between 25 years to life in state prison.
And pump some lead into somebody in their front yard over a chain. I sentence Mr. Sullivan to a life sentence.
He got what he deserved.
After serving a mandatory 50 years of a life sentence, Sullivan could ask for early release, but by that time, he'll already be 72 years old. At the Metro Justice Building, I'm Claudia DeCampo, NBC6 News.
I wish Juan Gelmes well. He seems to be well after being shot in his driveway. He's well enough to come to court and to get justice, and that's a great thing. From the article, it says that he's happy with the sentence, which was 50 years before he's eligible for parole. He'll be 72 years old by the time, well, I'm talking about the inmate. Patrick Sullivan will be 72 years old before he's eligible for parole, and I think that's justice served. I would like to give a big salute to the judge, Richard Hirsch, who handed down the sentence, and the prosecutor, Annette Roscoe, who prosecuted the case. With that said, I would just like to make a comment about what we saw. The mother of Patrick Sullivan, the perpetrator, made an impassioned plea, I guess, for leniency for her son. And then at the end, you see the son, the perpetrator, asking for forgiveness. And I just want to make a comment about this is that, you know, those of us who work in jails and prisons, we see this phenomenon happen a lot, where you see an inmate who has a caring parent, has a very hardworking parent or 2 very hardworking parents, and are trying and struggling to, you know, provide for them and teach them right from wrong, but the kids just don't want to listen. So I think this is one of those cases where the parents were trying to do the right thing, or the parent was trying to do the right thing, but the kid is out of control. For whatever reason, they are not interested in hearing what the parents have to say. And the result was he got 50 years in prison. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next article, which is from Northumberland, England. Northumberland, England, in the United Kingdom. And this is an incident where a sex offender attacked a correction officer in the facility there and broke the officer's jaw, fractured his eye socket. And this is not the only incident that has happened there. On the same day, an inmate threw boiling water on an officer. So there's problems going on at this facility, and the officers that work there feel that they have lost control of the facility. Now, this is very, very dangerous and very, very problematic. Officers are contemplating striking, And I understand that. I support that. If nothing is done to enhance the security of the staff that's working there, by all means, I would like to see them strike or have some sort of job action to bring this problem to the floor or to the fore, because nobody should have to work in these types of conditions where they're being assaulted and burnt by inmates. I like to highlight incidents that happen around the world because I just want to let the officers here in the state know that these things are not just happening in your state or your city or your county or here in the United States. They're happening on all around the world because these jails are understaffed. Okay, so we have these types of problems happening all over the world. And here's an incident where we're highlighting an article from England. All right, the next article is one that we see too often, and we've been seeing for like the last 3 years, where inmates are streaming live from their jail cells. So this is one from Rikers Island, New York, where an inmate was streaming live on Facebook from his jail cell. And if you click on this link, you can see the inmate's article or footage from the inmates on the live stream. It's the same old, same old. It's always embarrassing to the department when this happens, and I hope that we will come up with a way to keep phones out of inmates' hands. The next article we have here is disturbing. All right. This is from Green Bay, Wisconsin. An officer suffered second and third degree burns over 40% of his body when he was doused with boiling water by an inmate. What's also disturbing about this incident is that they have a radio problem at this facility in Green Bay, Wisconsin that they all know about. It says that the phones and the bases don't match. Now, I really don't know what that means, but I think it means that they don't have proper communication between the correctional control room and the officers. It says that the control room does not have the ability to stop all communications or stop the radio traffic when the emergency transmission comes through. So it's very likely that this officer was calling for help, but his transmission was being stepped on by other transmissions that were coming through at the same time. So probably the control room could not hear what the officer was saying, and that is very dangerous. Also in this facility, they have blind spots and they don't have blind spot mirrors. So there's a lot of things that are going wrong at this facility, and hopefully they'll be corrected. Also at this facility, a month earlier, 3 workers were stabbed by an inmate. So it just shows the magnitude of the dysfunction that's going on here. The bright spot of this article is that Green Bay has a state senator named David Hanson that is conducting an independent review of this prison and its policies. And hopefully, now that they have the spotlight on them, maybe things can be done to enhance the security and make the working environment safer for correction officers there. All right, the next article that I want to highlight is probably the most disturbing of them all, and in terms of video footage. We have a Rikers Island officer being slashed in the face by an inmate, and I'm going to play that footage for you right now. Okay, here we have the video footage of the officer being slashed. Now, there's no audio to this. This is just a video. But as we can see, the officer is talking to the inmate at the cell, not the inmate that's standing behind him that's walking away, the one that's in the cell. He's talking to him, and from the accounts of the article, the officer opens the food slot and the inmate slashes him across the face, which you just saw. Now, this is disturbing to me, and they're going to show it again with a close-up view where you can see the inmate slash the officer. Anybody who works in a facility in a jail with inmates finds this disturbing. This is dangerous. The officer receives, a slash to his left cheek, but his injuries don't appear to be life-threatening, and they're not as serious as they could have been. Let me pause this real quick and scroll down. Hold on, pause that. Let me scroll down to a picture that they have of the officer. Here he is. They don't give his name, which is okay. You see that he has a slash across his left cheek, and you see blood dripping down off his beard. Thank goodness he wasn't slashed across the throat, and his wounds are not life-threatening. It could have been a whole different story had the inmate slashed him across the throat. Now, this happened in Rikers Island, in New York City, and this department has had a lot of incidents like this in the last year. There's a lot of turmoil going on Rikers Island. They just got a new commissioner a couple of years ago, and he's trying to revamp the whole system, and he's not listening to the officers, and he's doing things that are causing the safety situation to get worse. The inmates are becoming more bold and brazen because of the policies of this particular commissioner. Hopefully the officers and the department administrators can get on the same page and start making changes that make these facilities safer and that benefit both the inmates and the officers. To the department's credit, they're trying to get some high-tech body scanners that can detect weapons and things like that better, and hopefully the state will approve it. But in the interim, I hope the officers remain vigilant, watch each other's backs, and be safe. So those are the 5 articles that I highlighted this week on correctional officers in the news. If you like this type of information, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, you can go to Correctional Officers in the News and like the Facebook page, and you can get all of these articles and then some about correction and the world of correction and what's going on. And you can stay abreast of what's happening in correction around the world. So, with that said, stay safe, stay strong, and peace.